Welcome to Product Marketing Alliance. We're home to everything a product marketer needs to learn, share, and succeed in their role. The definitive product marketing course, Product Marketing Core, is the perfect platform for experienced product marketers to broaden their existing knowledge, as well as educate newcomers beginning with their product marketing journey. Our community. We're home to more than 10,000 product marketers across the world, and every single day, tons of product marketing specific conversations go down. The community hasn't just been an absolute wealth of knowledge and answers, it's the place for constant inspiration. With a PMA membership plan, everything a product marketeer could possibly need is all in there, all in one place. Whether you want to grab a template, learn about how to become more strategic from product marketeers who've mastered it, sit back and watch hundreds of hours of presentations from some of the world's most trusted brands, our packages have got it all and more. We really are, dare we say it, the one-stop shop.
Hi, everyone. First, I just want to say thank you for joining this session today on building an effective sales enablement program from a blank slide. I'm very happy to be here. I'm happy to share my experiences with you. And then here at Tacton, when I started 2 years ago, I actually, with my team, had to build a sales enablement program from scratch. So that's where I got the idea that I could share some of my experiences, some best practices with you, and then a simple framework that can help you get started and off the ground relatively quickly. So I'll start off with a little bit of intro. Thanks for joining today. My name is Nick, the VP of Product Marketing at Tacton. We are a leading global software company that provides CPQ or configure price quote solutions. And for most of my career, I've been in emerging digital space, starting in the cellular industry at Motorola at the onset of the smartphone, all the way to my time at CDW as data centers were evolving from on-prem to the cloud, and now with digital transformation for manufacturers here at Tacton. And I've learned that I love technology, I love product and solution marketing, and in my 2 years at Tacton, I have learned so much more about sales enablement because my team and I had to build this program from scratch, or as I say, from a blank slide. And so I quickly want to start off with who is Tacton? Well, let me give you a little background. We are a leading CPQ vendor, as I said earlier. We build software globally for the biggest manufacturers in the world. Our solutions incorporate CPQ with real-time 3D visualization that allow just about anyone to configure buildable, customized products by interacting with them virtually online or side-by-side with a sales rep back when that was a little more easy to accommodate. But if you think of visiting a car website where you can customize your own car from the seat materials to the functions and the features, or if you're buying a customized pair of shoes where you can choose everything from the colors, style, laces, logo color, and so on, or anytime you customize any product online, there is a CPQ somewhere in that tech stack powering that experience for you. Sometimes they're homegrown, other times it's a software, other times it's a customized solution, but that experience is being powered by some sort of configure price quote tool. At Tacton, though, we don't focus on that B2C space. We focus on the industrial manufacturing space because there's such a level of complexity in their customized product offerings that our solution is built specifically to solve. So we have some of the largest manufacturers in the world, as you can see here, customers like Siemens, Caterpillar, ABB, Husky, and that's just a few of them. You can see the rest for yourself. And for manufacturers that are selling highly customized product, you think like elevators or medical equipment, robots, construction tractors, semi-trucks, escalators, all of those things are able to be sold because they've implemented a smart CPQ can be the most vital piece of a digital transformation for manufacturers in our space. And we're best suited for that because when implemented, it allows anyone from us here in this call to sales and partners to buy highly customized products. And when I joined Tacton in 2008, we were in the early stages of converting from a custom solution consulting type company to a software product company. In fact, my predecessor in the product marketing leadership role came from product management after identifying that there was a need for product marketing as we made this transition. And there was a mighty team of two when I joined that were building content, sales decks, product sheets, ebooks, white papers, and so on. But I came to the realization real quick that it didn't matter how much great content we had, how many training webinars we conducted, or how many updates on features or product launches. There was no buy-in and accountability from the organization as a whole. So it became more and more difficult for us to enable the sales team to effectively go to market. And so it wasn't too long after I started that it was pretty evident we needed to reimagine our sales enablement program, and it needed to start from scratch, or this here. And where do you start when you have just a blank slide? For anyone that's creative, likely a lot of people on this call, the hardest part is getting started, right? And I have plenty of enablement experience in my career. And to be completely honest, I had only worked at organizations that already had a program up and running. So more or less, I needed to ensure that we had the content and training in place, that we had our product launch calendar prepared. And I didn't really know what went into or what the steps should be. However, the good news is I knew how it should look and how it needed to look. And so I had to figure out what are the steps to get there with my team. We needed the basic things that sales enablement provides. It's essential. We know this. It's consistent messaging, a faster sales cycle, increasing in deal sizes, and then stronger onboarding. And that's just a few of them. But these are really important things for sales enablement, because if you don't have a good sales enablement program, you're never going to achieve these or any other goals that you have. But we all know that there's a huge elephant in the room. I experienced it. I'm sure all of us on this call in one way or another have experienced it, and that's adoption. And if you don't have adoption of your program, then you ain't got nothing, to be frank. And so the most important thing that you can do as you launch any sales enablement program is to get stakeholder alignment. It's mandatory, and it is by far the most important step that you're going to have. If you do not have the proper stakeholders aligned, you will end up where I was when I started at Tacton. You'll be producing great content, conducting great trainings, having product launches, and none of it really matters, because it doesn't matter how great that content is or those sales tools are or how beautiful your pitch deck is if there's no structure in place to train sales reps how to deliver it. So I recommend you start by asking yourself 3 simple questions. Who are the stakeholders that need to be involved from leadership? Who is my customer? And then what are the expectations of that customer? So while answering these questions, it is going to vary from company to company. I think you'll still be able to see what I am aiming for here as a message by understanding this here. So you have a product team in your organization. You have a marketing team that you're a part of, most likely in your organization, and then you have a sales team. Now, everyone knows that everybody is always off doing their own thing. Product has their initiatives and agenda. Sales has their quotas that they want to hit. You have your KPIs in marketing that you're trying to hit. And the stakeholders were pretty obvious for me, and they're probably pretty obvious for you. But what you need to do is you need to get marketing leadership, product leadership, and sales leadership all aligned and all bought in to your program. And the fact that you even need a program, because product, while they're developing products, it's really important for them to understand what's going on in the market, but also they are wanting their developments to be sold. So we have to work as that liaison between product and sales to make sure that we have a good message for sales to take to the market. Now, marketing's developing that messaging, understanding the market from customers, understanding the market from analysts, understanding the market from different areas. And they need to also be that liaison to the product team and to the sales team. So it's really important to have all leadership from these key functions and any others you might have in your organization to get their alignment on what is needed for a sales enablement program to be effective. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but I can tell you every one of these groups is doing their own thing. Products doing their own thing, sales is doing their own thing. I guarantee you, you would have a heart attack if you saw some of the slides that they're likely putting in front of customers. So it's really important that you understand getting the leadership is aligned. However, stakeholders aren't necessarily your customers. Your customers are always going to be the sales team. That means that you need to build a program that empowers them to sell faster, more efficiently, and is very easy to use. Getting alignment from the top leadership of the company will determine the success of your program. But you have to understand your customers, which is sales, and what their needs are. I went ahead, and I'll make this recommendation to you, to conduct individual interviews with your leader of the product team, marketing team, and sales team. Get their buy-in. VPs, SVPs, whomever it is, get their buy-in that you need this program. And then once you have that top leadership, go conduct individual interviews with sales reps, some of the best sales reps that you have, with your leaders on the sales team. Talk to your top performing reps, find out what they're doing. They know what works. They also can speak on your behalf to the team and become a champion for you as you roll out and execute this program. They're in the trenches. Other sales reps will look up to your best reps, and they can really be down there supporting your initiatives on the day-to-day. If you get them aligned, you get interviewed, and you find out what it is that would make them more successful. And I believe from my experience, all of the interviews you have will essentially tell you the same thing. I think that you may feel redundant after one or two of them. Keep having them, because you already know yourself. It's very, very relevant to making your sales team feel involved as part of this process, because they're your customer and their problems are what you need to provide solutions for. So to sum it up, it's absolutely vital to do this. And while it may seem like a mission impossible situation to get leadership aligned, conduct all these interviews, it's going to all lead to the same type of thing. But when you get all of these people on board and you get them aligned, it can turn from mission impossible to mission possible. Because when you get that alignment and you get that buy-in, people are more receptive. So building an effective, simple framework is key to making this scalable. It's key to having a system that works and a system that's easy to operate and understand. And then every time you have something new to launch, you just run it through this framework, and you already have a simplified version on how to empower your sales team. So once you have your stakeholders aligned, steering committee established with those top stakeholders, you have to put the framework that all sales enablement will essentially run through right here, and you will be able to push this through your organization if you get leadership to buy in, as we just talked about, and then you can empower your sales team to go out and sell your products. So I think I said it earlier, this framework is going to work for the majority of us listening here. And I think that it doesn't really matter your product. If you align with a software space at all, I believe that this framework is going to work. And additionally, I believe that all of your interviews will lead to this framework being a good way to solve the problem. So step one is you create. So you create content, messaging, or a tool that your sales team has asked for, or a slide that your sales team has asked for. You're launching new pricing and packaging. Whatever it is, you create the content, you create the training, and you ensure that this is all going to be trained upon. This can be a pitch deck, persona research, vertical training, a messaging update, a product launch, anything you need to get through the market, you create in this process. And this needs to be owned by product marketing. In most instances, there will need to be input from product managers when it's a new feature or a new launch, and you'll need to collaborate with content marketers in some organization, but ultimately you need to be the driver of creating the sales tools and enablement that will help your seller sell. Step two is to empower the sales organization. And again, this will vary depending on the content, but this is where you train on the content, you train on the messaging, you train on the new pitch deck, all this content you've generated. And at Tacton, we do this in a combination with e-learnings and webinars. What I found works best for us is when you're launching a new piece of enablement, an e-learning followed by a Q&A is a really good way to go, because then you can actually have a report to see who's gone through the training. You can also have an opportunity to push people a little bit farther and remind them. And then you have a Q&A if people come up with questions afterwards, after everybody's taken the training. The real key here is accountability and adoption. And if you shift to an e-learning model, which is especially easy now, you can follow up and make sure not only that the training is complete, but you can roll things out a lot faster and more efficiently. Just make sure you put timelines on it, because you don't want to develop a training in some sort of e-learning and then send it out and 6 weeks goes by and nobody's taken this e-learning. So when you're in that steering committee, establish timelines that work for everyone. Be simple about it too. Don't schedule big trainings for the end of quarters as sales is trying to get their deals closed. Make sure that you're thoughtful about other things going on in their accounts as well, but establish those timelines and then make sure that you train on all of the content that you create. This, again, needs to be owned by product marketing. You may have other key contributors, but it has to be owned by you, and you have to drive it throughout your organization. And once you've empowered the team by training them, the third important step is to validate, because again, this comes down to the core message that you can create the best messaging content in the world, but if people don't retain it, then it doesn't matter. And everybody knows, and that's for us here in this session as well, that you hear something once, it's usually in one ear and out the other. So you have to validate. Consistency is key. The best practice that I find here is depending on the training, you could do a quiz, a role play, or whatever is best. Sometimes it's a combination of the two, but this is where you determine if your messaging is able to be articulated back, and it builds comfort with the sales reps as they go to market and are able to refine how they personalize that pitch to make it their own. And I think a best practice here also is to reward achievements and build in incentives. Give a certificate of achievement once a training is complete. Hold a graduation for new hires after they complete their onboarding. Build in incentives to encourage people to finish first or quick or do the trainings a little bit faster. We have a Tacton Sales University at Tacton, and we reward our account executives with a certificate whenever they complete a larger training or complete a pitch on a new product or feature. And we also hold a graduation to do the same thing for the news hires. I cannot stress enough, this is important, especially the testing and the role playing, because this is how you learn if your message is sticking. And I personally take a hands-on approach with the role playing, especially in onboarding or new messaging launch, because A, it ensures it gets done, and then B, I get to learn a little bit from sales. I get to help guide the way that they speak about certain things. And then I also get that ever valuable feedback when they can say, this isn't going to work in the marketplace and here's why. And then you keep that constant loop going where you have open communication and you're building trust within that organization, which is also very important. And then the final piece here, and by the validating also needs to be owned by product marketing or whomever is leading the sales enablement program. So the final important part here is coaching. Now, I think every sales leader knows the importance of coaching, and by making it part of your framework, it keeps emphasis on it, it shines a light on it continuously, and it keeps people accountable at the forefront. And then also, this will help you get your sales managers and sales leaders involved, because ultimately they know that coaching is only going to make their sales reps better and stronger on that message. Understand, everyone here may not have the tools, may not have the resources or the software to build this super efficient sales enablement program, but don't worry if you're a startup or you don't have the budget to get some of those sales enablement software tools that make everything very easy. You have Zoom, you have Google Drive, you have Dropbox. There are plenty of free e-learning platforms out there where you can build. So get creative and think about how you're going to make everything work and how you're going to follow up on it. And there are so many free options out there. I think anybody's going to be able to do it. Just remember, keep it simple. And I always like to say, iPhone easy, make it very easy to find and access all of the trainings and all of the contents. I keep everything in a SharePoint site at Tacton, where the salesperson can go to what we call the Sales and Marketing Collaboration Center, where they can comment on content, they can make requests, they can download all of the materials that's available to them. So that works for us. That may not work in your organization, but find a tool that does. Put everything in one place so that it's easy to access and easy to follow up on. So what are some of the key takeaways today? First, I think building a culture of alignment and adoption is very important. And that's what we talked about earlier when you get the alignment of the upper leadership, because they will help build that culture and drive it through all the way down to the sales reps. And then next, clearly define the roles and responsibilities. So you have to know what you own, but you also have to get product to know their role in sales enablement. And then you also need to get sales to understand their role in all of this. So product needs to support you in building your enablement. You need to build the enablement as a product marketer, and then sales needs to use it and go through and follow up and adopt on the sales enablement. So keeping those roles and responsibilities is very important. Agree on timelines with your sales manager, agree on timelines with leadership, and make sure that everyone is held accountable. So next, you create a centralized hub for all things enablement, which I just mentioned. Again, you have to keep it simple. You have to keep it all in one place, because that's the only way that you're going to get people who are very busy to have access to everything in a meaningful, quick, timely way. Also, utilize incentives and celebrate achievements, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to be rewarded for their hard work. And we actually recently held an entire new way to speak about our product in certain situations that were caused by the pandemic. And I had sales reps that were reaching out to me because I didn't get them their certificate fast enough. But it was a really cool experience, and shows that they're actually finding value in our Tacton Sales University and value in the work that we're doing to enable them. Finally, align the organization on KPIs. Again, you may not be able to get a fancy sales enablement tool that's going to do all of this for you and automate it, but align on key KPIs. For me at Tacton, when we started, it was, I need 100% adoption. If we can get 100% adoption, I believe that our message can hit the market running. And so I got agreement from our SVPs in both EMEA and in the US that we would hit 100% adoption on all of our sales enablement courses. And guess what? We were able to do that. So if you get the organization to align on a few key basic KPIs, that's something that you can consistently go to and consistently refer to if you need people to adopt a little bit better. And then finally, maybe the single most important thing, keep it simple. It is so easy to end up in a rabbit hole that you're never going to get out of. And that's why when I built this today, for today, I wanted to keep it simple. Hopefully it was very simple for you, because ultimately, if you keep it simple, you're going to be able to launch this program with a bang, and then you're going to continue to evolve over time, and then the whole organization will evolve with you in this program. So keep it simple, follow the framework, and thank you all for coming today. And I would love to answer any questions that you have.